A few years ago, I hit rock bottom. No job, no savings, no plan. I remember just staring at the bright red final notice stamped on my rent bill, thinking, how did I get here? It felt like the city, the world, everything was just closing in on me. That night, I finally broke down. I went out into the hallway of my apartment building and just cried because I didn't want anyone to hear my failure. But someone did. It was an old man from down the hall. I'd seen him maybe twice, always wearing the same brown sweater and carrying a little radio that played soft jazz. He was coming in with his groceries, saw me crumpled on the floor, and didn't even hesitate. He didn't ask any questions. He just sat down beside me, right there on the worn-out carpet. After a long silence, he looked at me and said, "You know, every storm runs out of rain." Then he just stood up, smiled faintly, and went into his apartment. The next morning, there was a knock on my door. It was the building manager. I braced myself for the eviction notice. I knew it was coming. But instead, he said, "Your rent's been paid 3 months in advance." I just froze. I couldn't process it. There was no note, no name, no explanation, just kindness. Pure, unexpected kindness. I immediately knew who it was. I knocked on the old man's door to thank him, but there was no answer. I kept trying, but his apartment stayed empty. A few days later, the manager told me he'd be moved to a nursing home the week before he even spoke to me. So I found him. I brought him coffee and muffins and sat with him for an hour. He barely mentioned the money. He just said you looked like someone who just needed a little time. We've all been there. Those 3 months changed everything for me. It wasn't just about the money. It was the breathing room. It was the hope. I found a job, got back on my feet, and started smiling again. When I tried to pay him back, he refused. He just patted my hand and said, "Just pass it on." That's the rent of being alive. So now, every year on that same date, I quietly pay someone else's bills. A single mom I know from the coffee shop, a student struggling to get by, a stranger who looks like they're at their breaking point. I never tell them who it's from, because sometimes what saves us isn't a grand miracle. It's just a simple moment of humanity from someone who simply decided to care. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more. It means the world.